If you like this video, make sure to visit our Vimeo page and follow us to get the latest update.
Anybody can tell me what is the fiscal year?
The time frame, the year which the P&L and the balance sheet has been calculated, from which month to which month.
Very good. Okay, so fiscal year is the financial year. Fiscal year is the financial year where we are maintaining the opening and closing of the periods for posting the financial transactions, where we are posting the financial transactions, and the fiscal year is maintained for the external reporting purpose for the preparation of P&L account and balance sheet. That is the definition. So without a financial year, we cannot derive our fiscal year. I mean to say that without a financial year, we cannot derive our P&L account and balance sheet. So the fiscal year is completely dependent on calendar year. Very, very important. If I don't derive my calendar year, I don't know how to define my fiscal year. Definitely 100%. If it doesn't know what is a calendar year, I don't know about what is my fiscal year. That is true, very true. So when do you call it as a calendar year? When do you call it as a calendar year?
Jan to December.
So Jan to December, you are going to be calling it as a calendar year. Okay, right. I'll take one example here. Calendar year means you are calling as a Jan to December. So the Jan to December is also called as my fiscal year also. Jan to December is also called as my fiscal year. Then how you differentiate between the calendar year and the fiscal year?
Fiscal year may change based on the company policy or reporting structure, but calendar year will be fixed.
No, take it as one example. Okay, so this year I'm maintaining the fiscal year as a Jan to December. Example, just take an example. Okay, forget about what the changes have been happened in the norms and governments. Okay, forget about the changes. This year I'm maintaining my fiscal year as a Jan to December. So how you differentiate between the calendar year and your fiscal year? Both are same.
The periods.
What's up?
The period.
Example, correct. Very good. The concept we are going to be talking it as a period. The concept we are going to be talking as a period versus months. In calendar year, we call all the months as opening and closing. Okay, very, very important. For example, if I take one example, today my calendar year has been started from January to December. So January is a month, February is a month. We cannot call them as the periods. We are going to be calling them as the months. We are going to be calling them as the months. So when should I derive? When should I call them as the periods? If there are any financial accounting entries are getting updated and you're posting the transactions and you're maintaining the month end closing activities for every month and you're opening a new period. So those all the months are going to be treated as a periods. Very, very important. So in SAP terminology, every month in a fiscal year is called as a period. So what is a calendar year? A calendar year is nothing but a length of 12 months. Very, very important. See the definition. A calendar year is a length of 12 months for 365 days, consists of Jan to December, is called as a calendar year. Very, very important. So definitely it consists of 12 months. It consists of 12 months with 365 days. With 365 days. Very, very important. And when the 365 days months are getting started from the Jan to December, not in the mid from the not, and we are not going to be using the reciprocate. Okay, it has to start from the Jan to December. So then this structure, this framework, I call it as a calendar year. Length of 12 months with 365 days, which starting with the Jan to December months are going to be called as a calendar year. So every fiscal year, whatever the fiscal year you are going to be defining, it always depends on your calendar year only. If there is no calendar year, I cannot define my fiscal year. Very, very important. So if I go to the calendar year, now for example, let me take one example now. Okay, which calendar year you are using? I am in the calendar year. Okay, see, very, very important. Calendar year is 2021. This is my calendar year, not fiscal year. My calendar year is 2021. So when I call it as a 2021, very, very important, very, very important. So you have the months, How many months are there? How many months are there? 12 months will be there. Very, very important. 12 months will be there. So from the period, from the month 1 to, I'm taking about the 12 months. I'm taking about the 12 months. Okay. I'm taking about the 12 months. So this is nothing but my months. And what is the next step? I told that next step in this example, I told that it consists of 12 months with 365 days starting from Jan to December. Okay, very good. So when I come to the days, how many days? 365 days. So January is going to be the 31 and the February is the 28 or 29, leap year also will come. Okay, 31 and it is going to be the 30 and it is going to be the 31 and June 31 or June 30 and July 31, August 31, September 30, October 31, November 30 and December 31. Okay, so these are going to be called as the days. Okay, now I got a complete understanding about my calendar year. This is my calendar year and these are going to be called as the days. Very, very important. So months and days are derived. Now, when you come to your fiscal year, my fiscal year is same as my calendar year. A fiscal year is same as my calendar year. If I don't have my calendar year, I cannot define my fiscal year. A fiscal year is a year where you are maintaining the opening and closing of the periods for posting the financial transaction, which helps in deriving the P&L account and balance sheet is called as a fiscal year. So you can call it as an academic year is a different one. Fiscal year is a different one. Okay. So like that, there are different types of years are there. The year concept will never change. Even if you call it as a calendar year, or even if you call it as a fiscal year, or it is an academic year, the year concept will remain same. Year concept means irrespective of Jan to December. Year means length of 12 months with 365 days. When you call it as a year, when I can call it as a year, forget about the calendar, forget about the fiscal, forget about the academic year, forget about all the prefix of the year. What is the year definition? Year is nothing but it is a length of 12 months with 365 days. With 365 days, irrespective. It is not from Jan to December. It is anything, but it should contain the 365 days with 12 months. That is the concept of year. But if I tell it is a calendar year always should start from the Jan to December. Jan to December, then only I can call it as a calendar year. Very, very important here. Very, very important here. So I got the definition of my calendar year. Now I need to define my fiscal year. Very, very important. Fiscal year, very, very important. 2021. My fiscal year is also same as my calendar year. My fiscal year is also same as my calendar year. So now I'm going to be calling them as a periods. I'm going to be calling them as a periods. Very, very important. What is your first period? What is your first period? If the fiscal year is same as your calendar year, my first period and my last closing period will be the same as my calendar month. So it is going to be the same. See, very, very important here. Very, very important here. So my periods are nothing but my fiscal year periods, not a calendar year. Calendar year means we call them as the months. The fiscal year always were going to be called as the months are always going to be called as the periods. Very, very important. Okay. Now, what is your fiscal year? 2021 is nothing but my fiscal year. Okay, very good. So there is a concept of year shift. There is a concept of year shift. If it is a non-calendar year fiscal year, we need to define the year shifting for the calendar year. But I see that the number of periods you are going to be defined are equal to the number of months which are going to be falling under the same calendar year or not. Definitely. So there is no year shifting to the next year. All my fiscal year periods are falling under my calendar year. So there is no year shifting. So I'm going to be taking as a 0, 0, 0. So this is what exactly, there is no year shift to the next calendar year. So all my periods are falling under the same calendar year. Very, very important. So there is no concept of year shifting. Very, very important. So this is what exactly I call it as my fiscal year. See, this is called as my fiscal year. So there is no change in the fiscal year. Okay. This is 2021 financial year. I'm telling to my SAP now. I'm telling to my SAP, this is what exactly my fiscal year. So there is no concept of year shifting. Year shifting is nothing but you're shifting the periods to the next year. I'll tell you one more example now. Now take the same base of the calendar year. Take the same base of the calendar year, same thing. But my fiscal year is April to March. My fiscal year is April to March. Very, very important here. Very, very important. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be using the concept like this, 2021, 22. See, like this. If you see any non-calendar year fiscal year means, definitely you have to take 2021, 22. You observe anywhere, the World Cup has held between, between Euro and between the US or between all the countries in India between 2021 to 22. What does it mean that? So the few of the matches have been conducted in 2021 and few of the matches have been conducted in 2022. So it is a 2021-22 fiscal year, but the actual World Cup has started in 2021. That is a fiscal year. That is what exactly the year where the World Cup has started. The soccer World Cup has been started. So if I take the fiscal year as the 2021 and 22, what is my fiscal year? Is it a 2021 or 22? No, it is a 2021 only. But why do you take the 2022? Because of year shift. Because of the concept of year shift. I'll tell you now. Okay. See here. Same thing. Because of the concept of year shift, I'm going to be using this concept. Okay. Sorry. What happened? Okay. I'm taking the same. No change in the calendar year. Even if you're defining a non-fiscal year calendar year or anything, okay? So the calendar year will remain same. There will be no change in the calendar year, okay? Calendar year months and the days will be the same. What happened? Okay, there is no change. Your base will be always will be a calendar year only. No change in the calendar year. Nothing. Even if you are defining a fiscal year is same as your calendar year or fiscal year is non-same, fiscal year is not equal to your calendar year, the calendar will remain same. There is no change. That is Jan to December. But now here you are going to be calling it as April to March. April to March 2021 and 22. Where is April? Here is April. Here it is going to be the April. April is consists of, okay, so here April is 30. Okay, so the first period always start with 1. My period starts with 1. My opening period of my financial year is always start with 1. And here, till here, if we go here, how many periods are there till the month of December? Till the month of December, I see only there are 9 periods are there. Very, very important. There are only 9 periods are there. There are only 9 periods are falling under the current calendar year. Under the current calendar year, we have only the 9 periods. So can I call it as a complete financial year? Can you call it as a complete financial year? No, I cannot call it as a complete financial year. You can see here. Why? Because if I call it as a financial year, the length of the periods should be the 12. But here I see only the 9 periods are there. So then all the 9 periods will fall under the same calendar year. So there is no concept of year shifting. There is no concept of year shifting here. If you see here, there is no concept of year shifting at all. There is no concept of year shifting at all. You can see, my dear friend, there is no concept of year shifting. Now, when the year shifting will start? Year shifting will only start if you are dependent on the next calendar year to define your fiscal year. Then I can call it as a year dependent. So let me take this example now. Okay, this is 2022 calendar year, not 2021. This is 2022 calendar year. Very, very important. 2022 calendar year. See, very, very important here. So now I want to go for year shift. I want to go for year shift. Year shift concept is very, very important for me. Why? Because if I don't go for the year shift, I cannot complete my fiscal year from April to March. So what I'm going to do, I'm moving to the year shift to the calendar year, not to the fiscal year. Very, very important. I'm moving to the year shifting of the calendar year. So I'm going to be the year shifting for the first 3 months of your calendar year. So here I'm copying those first 3 months and I'm placing here. Very, very important. Very, very important. So what happened? In the next fiscal year, there will be no 3 months will be available. So the 3 months will be not be available. Why? Because you are using the concept of year shifting to the next calendar year. Your next calendar year is nothing but 2022 is nothing but your next calendar year. So here you can see here, it is going to be called as a 10th period, and it is going to be called as the 11th period, and it is going to be called as the 12th period. Now I got all the 12 periods. Now I got all the 12 periods from April to March. And this April to March, from the Jan to December, will fall under year shifting of calendar year, that is 2022. These 3 months only. I'm talking about these 3 months. These are going to be called as the year shift. These 3 months are going to be calling as year shift. And when I'm taking as a year shift, how do my SAP knows that you're moving from the calendar year to the calendar year shift? So here we are going to be taking as a -1. Very, very important. I'm giving the SAP standard code here. This is -1, -1, and -1. What does mean a -1 will tell that? -1 is nothing but you're moving as a year shifting. Means you're minusing. Means you're going to be minus the first 3 months of the next calendar year, and you're considering those 3 months as periods for the fiscal year, that is from the April to March 2021 and 22. So that is the reason I'm taking as a my fiscal year is a 2021-22, because there is a 3 months are going to be called as a year shift. But actual assessment fiscal year is 2021 only. Your assessment fiscal year is going to be the 2021. There is no change in that. Very, very important. But why do you take the 2021 and 22, and why you're not taking this fiscal year as the 2021 and 22? Because all your periods 1 to 12 periods is falling under the same calendar year. That is the reason my fiscal year is called as the 2021. But here I'm calling it my fiscal year 2021, but I'm defining my fiscal year as the 2021 and 22 because the last 3 periods are going to be called as the year shifting periods for the calendar year 2020. So now you can see here, from 1 to 12, I have all the periods, and from the 1 to 9 periods, these are the non-shifting year periods, and the 1 to 2 periods, 1 to 3 periods, these are going to be called as the year shifting periods. -1, -1, -1 means you're minusing the 3 months from the next calendar year, and you are adding as a fiscal year for the 2021 and 22. So this is the difference between a fiscal year same as your calendar year and a fiscal year is differ from your calendar, that is April to March. Now, you got the definition now? Any doubts in this definition of the fiscal year? Two examples have been given here between the example for the calendar year and the non-calendar fiscal year.
Mahesh, quick question. Sometimes you have period 13 and period 14 for financial statement.
I'll tell that those are going to be called as a special periods. Actually, we call them as the special periods. I'll tell the topic. That is a different topic, is there?
Okay, thank you.
That is a different topic we are going to be talking. Special period 13, 14, 15, and 16 are going to be called as the special periods.
Mahesh, just a quick thing really on this one. Like you got 12 months here, but 6 months falls in the 2021 and 6 months falls within 2022. What will be the case in that case? Will that be a year shift -1 for those remaining 6 months?
I'll tell that. Okay. Now, for example, you're considering your fiscal year. You're considering your fiscal year from April to March, and one thing is nothing but you're considering your fiscal year from June to July.
July to June.
Yeah. So July to June. Sorry, example. Yeah. Okay. July to June. What happened to my year today now? Yeah. So let me take one example. So what is your fiscal year now? Your fiscal year is very, very important. Your fiscal year is 2021 or 22. That is a very, very important here. But here I'm going to be taking it as a July to June. July to June. Very, very important here. So the concept of periods and the year shift is very, very important for me. In this case, also the concept of year shift is very, very important for me. But your opening period is when your opening period is not from the January, your opening period is from the June. So June is nothing but your first period and second period like this. Okay, this is going to be the third period, fourth period, fifth period, and sixth period, and the seventh period. Very, very important. So here
It's
if you see
actually
here,
from July. Sorry. It's from July, right?
yeah, I'll take that I made a mistake. Yeah, exactly, I made a mistake. Okay, so it will start from the July. Okay, see. So this is my fiscal year. We are going to be starting here. Very, very important. So in this fiscal year, if you see here, complete, there are only year dependent about only the 6 periods are going to be falling under the year dependent of your calendar year, that is 2021. Very, very important. 2021. Now these all are going to be the same calendar year. So I'm not going for the year shifting. This is 0000, and this is what exactly year 000, and this is what exactly 00. Okay, no change in the fiscal year. So I'm taking as a year shifting as a 00. But when do you go for a year shifting? When do you go for a year shifting? Year shifting always will go to the next calendar year. Just now I told that. Year shifting always will go to the next calendar year. Your next calendar year is 2022. Your next calendar year is the 2022. So now what I'm going to do, I'm following the same concept of year shifting. So I'm going to be using this first 6 months as a year shift, and I'm placing here. So now here you can see here, this is from the 7th to till the month of 12. Okay, very, very important. Okay, 7 to 12, and these all falls under the -1, -1, and -1. This is my fiscal year. This is my fiscal year. Now, half of your fiscal year falls under the current calendar year 2021, and half of your fiscal year falls under the current year of 2022. So I will consider, because my open period is falling under the fiscal year 2021, that is the 7th month is falling under the 2021. I call my fiscal year as the 2021, not as the 2022. Very, very important. Why? Because your opening period is always falling, and the maximum number of periods are equal. I understand that. The first 6 periods are falling under the 2021, and the second periods are starting from the 2022. That is very good. So half of your fiscal year is falling under the 2021 and 2022. But I will consider my fiscal year as a 2021, not as a 2022. Why? Because I'm starting my periods in the current financial year of 2021. So that is the reason I'm going to be taking. This is the April. This is what exactly the July to June. Next is there. There is one more is there. I'll take one more example. Now take a fiscal year 2021. Take a fiscal year 2021. But what is your financial year? What is your financial year? This is very, very important here. Okay, your financial year I'm going to be taking here. So financial year is very, very important. Financial year is, okay, October to September. October to September. This is another important one. October to September one. So now October to September. Now see here. This is very important actually. Okay. Now October. So October is the first period, second period, and third period. This all falls under 0, 0, and 0. This is very, very important. Now you can see here. Now here I have a problem here. Are you considering the fiscal year? Are you considering the fiscal year as the 2021 fiscal year? No. What I'm going to do, I'll go to the next month. I'll go to the next month with next calendar year. I'll go to the next calendar year. This is 2022 calendar year. This is 2022 calendar year. See, very, very important here. So what I will do here, my calendar year is 2022, but I'm following my fiscal year is nothing but from October to September. If it is October to September, the maximum number of periods are falling in the calendar year of 2022. The maximum number of periods are falling under the 2022, not under the 2021. 2021, we have only the 3 periods are there. So I'm going to be treating my fiscal year as a 2022, not as a 2021. In this case, what I will do here, if that is the case, what I will do here, I will take these 3 periods. Very, very important. You can see the logic here. I will take these 3 periods and I'll place it here. I'll place it here. And what I am going to do, and this first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth periods, I'll be following here like this. I'll be following here like this. I'm following like this. Very, very important. 9. Okay. These are going to be the 1, 9, 10 like this. Okay. So 1 second, I made a mistake. So I'll copy this year shifting and I'm placing over here. Now let me put out all the things. Okay. So now see here. So 1, 2, 3. So this will be okay. This will be the 4. Okay, 4 to 2. See here. So what happened? These 3 periods now. These 3 periods are going to be the empty. Why? Because you are moving from the 2021 to 22. So the maximum number of periods are falling under the 2022. So this is what exactly, if you want to consider, it is going to be called as a +1. Very, very important. +1, +1, and +1. There is no change here. What is the +1 here? +1 is nothing but, okay, very, very important. +1 is nothing but year shifting is there, but you are moving from the year shifting to the one fiscal year to another fiscal year. But my fiscal year is the 2022 calendar year, not as the 2021 calendar year. Very, very important, because the maximum number of periods are going to be falling under the 2021. So what I will do now, I'll take all these periods from here. Very, very important. See the logic. I'll take all the periods from here and I will add it here like this. I will add it here like this. So now you can see here. This is -1. Means you are using as a next year as a year shifting, but this is the +1. We are going to be using the next year calendar year as a current fiscal year. So this is what exactly I'm going to be. So the number of periods are falling under the 2022 calendar year. So I will make it as a calendar year as or fiscal year is as 2022. Very, very important. So October to September 2022 fiscal year. Is it clear now, all of you? The 3 definitions?
So, Mr. Manish, just to make sure I understand. So, if the number of periods, like you were just saying a minute ago, if a majority of the periods fall in a particular calendar year, that's the fiscal year.
Exactly. That I'll be considering as a fiscal year. Exactly. You're right.
Yes. Now, so if it was like 6 months, so let's say it was split 6 months in the calendar year and then 6 months in the following year, the fiscal year will be the current year, correct? Like
Current year. Exactly.
Okay.
I'll be giving the priority to my current calendar year of 2021, even though it is divided by half of the fiscal year by current calendar year, and the next calendar year is going to be the half. But I will take my priority and given to the fiscal year as the same as my calendar year for 2021, not as a 2022.
Okay, great, got it.
So like this, why do you give the year shifting 0, 0, and why do you give the year shifting as a -1, and why do you give the year shifting as a +1? Because you are explaining, you are doing the configuration in SAP. SAP has to know what type of fiscal year you are going to be using. So this year shifting 0, -1, +1 are going to be called as a year shifting course, where we are explaining to the SAP that this is the concept of year shifting we are using in SAP standard. So SAP will derive this is the year shifting periods and these are the non-year shifting periods. So in SAP, we have 3 types of fiscal years are there. One is going to be called as a year dependent. Second one is going to be called as a year independent. And the third one is going to be called as how? Anybody can tell me what is the third one?
The shortened fiscal year.
Shortened fiscal year. Very good. Shortened fiscal year. What is the year dependent? What is the year dependent?
So which is similar to calendar year?
No, year dependent cannot be similar to your calendar year. What is the year dependent and how it is going to be the difference between the year dependent to the year independent? Year dependent means let's take an example. Let's take an example. January to December is nothing but my fiscal year. Example I'm taking. Okay, example. So 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Example, I'm taking 4 financial years. 21, 22, 23, and 24. There is no change in the opening date and the closing date of my financial books of accounting entries. Nothing but in 2021, I am following the Jan to December, that is January 1st to December 31st. In 2022, there is no change to January 1st to December 31st. Like this, if you see the sequential of the years from the 2021 to 2024, all these fiscal years are called as my year independent fiscal years. If there is no change in the opening date and the closing date, if there is no change in the opening date and the closing date of your financial books of accounts, then that particular year is called as a year independent financial year. Very, very important. So it can be the Jan to December, it can be the April to March, it can be the October to September, it can be the or July to August, July to June, any fiscal year you take. If there is no change in the opening date and the closing date of the financial books of accounting entries within the same fiscal year, those years are called as year independent fiscal years. Any books, any take that, any doubt here? Anybody has any doubt in the year independent? Next year also, if you're closing your books of accounts by 31st of March, 31st of December, next year you're starting your fiscal year from January 1st. So the 2022 is also year independent. Next year also you're starting January 1st as the fiscal year and the closing books of accounts is 31st of December. No change, no change, no change. So these all are going to be called as a year independent financial years. Next one. What is a year dependent financial year? What is a year dependent financial year? Mahesh. So 2021 is a year independent only, Mahesh. 2021 is a year independent, but 2022 is a year dependent financial year, Mahesh. Year dependent. Why? Okay. Okay, I'll tell you one example. 2020 is a year independent, but 2021 is a year independent. Till 2020, I'm using the year independent financial year, but 2021 is a year dependent financial year. What do you mean there? Yes, Mahesh. There is a pandemic situation, Mahesh. There is a pandemic situation. There is a lockdown. Example, I'll tell you one example. There is a lockdown. Complete lockdown is there. So I should not open my factory calendar year and I should not open my complete fiscal year. There is no operations are going to be done. Completely the lockdown. Because of the lockdown, my factory has to be shut down. No financial transactions are happened from the January to till the month of February. 2 months have been went completely locked down. Complete my January and December months are being shut down for closing because of the pandemic situation. So I opened my factory and I started doing my operations from the month of March, not from the month of January. So March to December, your financial year is, current financial year is of 2021 is a March to December. Or this is one case, Mahesh. Actually, what we are going to be doing here is till 2020, we are following the fiscal year is as a Jan to December. But from 2021, I need to follow the fiscal year from the April to March. From the April to March, this is one of the examples. So due to some change, okay, due to some changes, okay. Earlier, I'm following my fiscal year. I newly established my company in India. In India, you're following the April to March, Mahesh. Very good. But this is newly established company. The first year, I started my fiscal year as a calendar year, that is from the Jan to December. But from the next year onwards, I need to start my fiscal year from the April to March, not from the Jan to December. If you have to start from the April to March. So what is happening? 2020 is your year independent fiscal year, but 2021 is nothing but your dependent fiscal year. Means you're moving from the January to December. From the January to December, you're moving to the April to March. So April to March is nothing but your year dependent fiscal year. And again, from the next year onwards, there is no change. Again, you're following the same April to March, April to March, and April to March. But only this fiscal year, 2021, is going to be called as a year dependent. And the remaining all the fiscal years, you're following as a year dependent, April to March and April to March and April to March. So year dependent can be only 1 year. You cannot follow the year dependent with the multiple financial years. Very, very important. Until or unless if there is no change in your fiscal year opening books of accounts. Is it clear now the doubt between the year independent and year dependent now?
So do you mean to say if we change the FY from regular whatever policies we are following,
whatever the pattern we are going to be using for the opening and closing of your books of accounts, whatever the pattern you are following, the Jan to December, if there is any change in the fiscal year,
then it is called dependent.
Independent for current calendar year. That is for 2021, you are going to be using the year dependent. I'm right?
Okay.
So Mahesh, in that scenario, sorry, there will be less than 12 months in that particular year.
There will be less than 12 months, or you're not following the, for example, here. Actually, I need to open my books of accounts on January 1st and December 31st. But in some cases, okay, something like I'm opening my books of accounts on not January 1st. I'm opening my books of accounts from 16th of January. 16th of January, I'm opening my books of accounts and I'm closing my books of accounts by 31st of December. 31st of December. This is also your year dependent fiscal year. Not year independent fiscal year. Year independent, always we have to consider only one thing. There will be no change in the opening date and the closing dates. That is called as a year independent. If it is a dependent, means there is a change in the opening date and the closing date of your financial account. That is what exactly I call it as a year dependent. Clear now, all of you? Anyone has any doubts in the dependent and year independent? What is the short end? What is the short end? Short end is same as your dependent only. Short end is also dependent fiscal year. If you call it as a short end fiscal year, the name will call it a short end, but it is a year dependent only. Always you have to remember that. So you have maintained the lockdown, the pandemic situation, you have closed your factory for the 3 months or 4 months. Actually, your books of accounts should start from the January, but the January, February, and March and April example I'm going to be taking is these 3 months are going to be the lockdown periods, and you're starting your books of accounts from the May to the month of December. So this current 2021 is the short end, very, very important. 2021 is the short end fiscal year, because less than 12 periods are there. There are less than 12 periods are there. So it falls under the short end fiscal year. Short about how many periods? Short about 1 to 4 periods are going to be called as the short for you to open the fiscal year. But are you maintaining from the January to December? No, I'm not maintaining from the January to December. Then it is called as a year dependent as a short end fiscal year. It is called as a year dependent only, but it falls under the short end fiscal year for you. That is the difference here. Always remember, short end is always will be called as a year dependent only. The concept of year dependent is very clear. The concept of year dependent is nothing but your opening and closing of your books of accounts is not same as your previous fiscal year. Very, very important. So there is less than 12 months or there is less than 365 days. This all comes under the short end. This all comes under the year dependent. But how you define the dependent with the short end? Short end means fall of less than 12 periods for the opening and closing of your books of account. Then I can treat it as a short end fiscal year. Whether it is 6 months or whether it is 6 months you're opening the next period or your 6 months you're closing of your current period. These all are going to be called as the short end periods. So you're telling to the SAP that you're telling to the SAP, yes, my fiscal year is from my fiscal year is from Jan to December only. Actually, I should follow the year independent only, but I'm following from the May to December as the current year of 2021. So how many periods are going to be fall as the short end? Short end is going to be the 4 months. 4 months are nothing but 4 periods. These 4 periods are going to be called as the shortened periods. So I can call 2021 is a shortened fiscal year, and this is also called as a year dependent fiscal year. So these are going to be called as the 3 different types of fiscal year dependent and year. So when I come to the year independent, SAP has standard fiscal year variants. We can call them as a variants. SAP has standard fiscal year variants are there. No need to create a new fiscal year because already SAP is providing you the standard variants for you. Okay, you can directly take that variant and copy it to your company code. Your company code is the HP10. HP10, you are assigning the fiscal year to the company code. So your company code is the HP10. So how do the companies know that you're following a fiscal year, the Jan to December or April to March or October to September or July to June? So there are some predefined variants are there. K4, V3, V6, and V9. These are the standard variants. We call them as the variants. I'll tell you what is the concept of variants. So this is called as these are the 4 variants are there for the year independent, not for, there will be no variants for the dependent and the shortened. So there are some variants have been given from the SAP. So Mahesh, if you are following the Jan to December, you have to assign the K4 as a variant to your company code. Don't forget it. Okay, K4 is always going to be called as a Jan to December. If you are following a fiscal year from April to March, then please, very, very important. So if you're following April to March, then you are to assign this fiscal year. Okay, which one? That is the April to March will fall under the V3. V3 is nothing but your April to March. If you're following the fiscal year, from, okay, July to June, then you have to assign the V6. If you're following from October to September, then go and assign the variant as a V9. These are the predefined variants have been given from the SAP. So no need to create any new fiscal year. Directly go and assign your K4. K4 is nothing but a variant. K4 always starts with Jan to December. V3 always starts with April to March. V6 always starts with the July to June. And V9 always starts with October to September. These are the predefined from the SAP best practice. These are 4 fiscal year variants, or these all 4 fiscal year variants are year independent fiscal years. Year independent fiscal years. What is the K4? Jan to December. What is this 4? K is nothing but your fiscal year. I understand that. K is nothing but always January to December. But what is this 4?
It's 4 quarter separates.
Exactly, you're absolutely right. There will be 4 quarters will be there. 1, 2, 3, and 4 quarters will be there. So K is nothing but Jan to December, and 4 is nothing but you're giving the variant as the 4 quarters. And if you see, and it is all the 4 quarters will fall under the same calendar year. No, not different calendar year. See, these 4 quarters are falling under the same calendar year, not? Very good. If you see the V3 will have only 3 quarters. 1, 2, and 3. Because these 3 are going to be called as a non-calendar year fiscal year. K is nothing but calendar year fiscal year. B stands for non-calendar year fiscal year. Very, very important. V3 means only 1, 2, 3. See, if you see here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are only 3 periods up to here. If you calculate up to December, you can see there are only 3 quarters are there. Very, very important. Now, come to the V6. V6 doesn't mean that, okay, so V6 doesn't mean that, okay, you're following the July to June. So system doesn't know. Hey, Mahesh, tell me now, are you following the calendar year and the fiscal year is as the V6 is nothing but from, okay, from the July to till the month of December 1 year, and from the January to till the month of June, you are going to be using quarterly. Obviously, you are using the off-yearly fiscal year. One fiscal year fall under your 2021, another fiscal year fall, another calendar year will fall under 2022. So here I'm going to be using the V6. V6 is nothing but 2 quarters, 1 quarter, 2 offs. One off is falling under the 2021, and the second off is falling under the 2022. And V9. Very, very important. V9 is nothing but it is October to September. V9 is nothing but October to September, very, very important. So the maximum number of periods are falling, very, very important here, October to September. So from here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See, very, very important here. So the maximum number of periods are falling under which calendar year? The maximum number of periods are falling under the 2022 calendar. So 9 periods are there. So I'm going to be using as a V9 as my October to September. So this is how the fiscal years are defined in your SAP now. Okay, so these are the standard variants. We call them as the standard variants. K4 is always Jan to December. V3 is always April to March. V6, V9, and K. So don't forget, anywhere in SAP, if you see that K4 means it is a Jan to December. Don't forget about that. It's a predefined variant. What is a variant now? What is a variant? Tell me what is a variant, Mahesh. Okay, what is a variant? You are always fiscal year, we understood. So these all are going to be called as a year independent fiscal years. Very good. But what is this variant concept? K4 is a variant, V3 is a variant, V6 is a variant, V9 is a variant. What is this variant concept? Anybody will get it out?
Just a quick thing before we get into the next one. What does the quarter relevance is here? Like when we say in 1 quarter, 2nd quarter, 3rd quarter, 4th, what's the relevance for it?
Relevance is not specific to here. So only for the identification only they have given like this. There is no relevance for this. To identify, this is what your fiscal year you are going to be assigning it to the company code. That is only the reason here. But there is no specific reason. So for example, I don't want to use the V3, sir. No, I don't want to use the V3. So client is not accepting the V3. Hey, Mahesh, go and create a new fiscal year for April to March. I don't want, I am using the April to March only. My fiscal year is April to March, but I don't want to assign the V3. Can you go and create a new variant? The variant should start with HP. The variant should be given with any 2-character code. Any 2 character, either it is alphanumerical or characters or alphabetical, anything. But the variant should be given with any 2 characters. So I don't want to use the V3, Mahesh. I want to create a new variant called as a HP, and this HP is nothing but it should as a April to March only, Mahesh. Same thing, April to March. Then is there is any relevance? Nothing. This is called as your variant, and you are assigning this variant to your company code. Your company code is called as a HP10 is the company code, and you are assigning. So how do the SAP know that HP is a fiscal year April to March? Then I need to define this structure in my SAP. Then only the system can understand, oh, you are using the April to March as a fiscal year. These are only the just variant codes have been given for the explanation, but there is no specific reason for that. Clear, sir?
Thank you, Mahesh.
Okay. Now, what is a variant? I'm creating a new variant now. Okay, let us take an example. I'm creating a new variant. My variant name is the HP. I want to use April to March or Jan to December. That depends. Okay, so my variant, I'm creating a variant. Just like a variant. Okay, now for example, if I go and see, this is my variant. A doc. Okay, for example, I'm creating one folder. See, this is my folder. Or I'm creating one holder. I'm creating a new holder. For example, I'm creating a new folder. This folder name, I'm giving it as a HP. This folder name, I'm giving it as a HP. Now, if I open this folder, nothing is there, empty. Complete, it is an empty. There is nothing. There are no files are available in this folder now. Same thing, when I come here, this is a nothing but variant name I given. But is there any data in this variant? No, there is no data into this variant. Now, what I had to do here? Yes, go to the SAP now. Okay, SPRO, IMG, financial accounting for global settings. Ledgers. Under the ledgers, fiscal year and the posting periods. Maintain the fiscal year variant. Okay. See, K4, I told SAP predefined. K4 is there. V3, See, V3 is there, V6 is there, V9 is there. V3 is nothing but April to March, July to June, October to September. And what is the K4? K4 is nothing but, okay, you are going to be calling it as a calendar year fiscal year. Don't worry. Okay, these all are system defined fiscal year. These all are going to be called as a system. So how do the SAP know that K4 is a calendar fiscal year? There is an option called as a calendar year. So you're going to be selecting it as a calendar year. Your calendar year is same as your fiscal year. So you're selecting the checkbox. But if there are 3 other fiscal years are there, which falls under the non-calendar fiscal year. So these all 3 are going to be called as a non-calendar. So for these 3, I'm not going to be selecting the calendar year fiscal year. Very, very important. Very, very important, because these 3 falls under the non-calendar fiscal year. Now create a new fiscal year. For example, I'll show one example. Go to the new entries. I want to create a new fiscal year now. So what is a fiscal year name? HP example. HP. I'm writing here. Very, very important. I'm going to be writing here. April to March. Example. March fiscal year. Okay, I'm giving some name here. April to March fiscal year. Example. Is it your calendar year? No, I should not select it as a calendar year. So is it your year dependent? Now here there is a called as a year dependent. You can see here, year dependent is coming over here. Is it a year dependent? No, man. It's a year independent only. Why? Because I'm starting my books of accounts from the April and I'm closing my books of accounts by the March. So there is no change in the dates, Mahesh. This current year fiscal year is the April to March only, no change. So don't select the year dependent here. If there is any changes there in the opening date and the closing date, then I need to select the year dependent. But there is no change, April to March. So there is no change. So how many periods are there? 12 periods. Normally the number of posting periods should be the 12. April to March means 12 periods will be there. If it is a shortened means I can take less than 12. It is a 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. I can give it as a number here. If it is a shortened, then it is going to be called as a year dependent. But here, what I'm going to do, the number of periods always going to be the 12 periods. So why? Because your April to March, if you see here, there are 12 periods are there. So I want to take the periods as a 12 here. So 12 periods are there. Very, very important. Now, there is a concept called as the special periods. I'll tell you what is the special period. Number of special periods are there. Why the special periods are used? I'll take a class. Okay, there is a different class is there. So SAP is providing you 4 special periods. SAP is providing you 4 special periods. Those are going to be called as the 13, 14, 15, and 16. These are the 4 special periods are there. Why do you require the special periods? Before you close your financial year, you need to do some adjustments or not. And definitely you need to do some adjustments, and then you have to close your financial year for the 2021 and you have to open a new fiscal year called as a 2022. So where you're going to do all those adjustments. So there will be different types of adjustments will be there. Your auditor is going to be doing a lot of many adjustments. You have to do some adjustments. So where I'm going to be doing those adjustments, you cannot do the adjustments in all the periods. Why? Because all the periods have been closed. Only the period which is open is nothing but your last period is open for you. Now you are in the month of March. You have to close your financial year. You are completing your financial year by the March. So whatever the adjustments you are going to be taking, all the adjustments are getting adjusted to the last closing period of your financial year. That is the March. If it is the January to December, means your December is the last closing period. So the last closing period will never be closed. No, you are not going to be closed. Still, you have to maintain it as the open period only. Don't close it. Open. If you close the last period, you cannot make any kind of adjustments. So all the period 1 to 11 periods are closed. Means all the periods have been closed. But only the period which is open is nothing but the 12th period is open now. So you have to keep it open until you complete all the adjustments. You're going to do many adjustments before you are going to do some expenses adjustments, some balance sheet adjustments. You're posting some transactions for making of adjustments. Many adjustments will be there. So these adjustments has to be recorded in the special period. These are going to be called as the special periods. 13, 14, 15, 16. So now let me remove this. Now These 13, 14, 15, 16 are getting adjusted. Very, very important. These 13, 14, 15, 16 are going to be adjusted to the last period of your financial year. Very, very important, my dear friend. This is the concept. What is your last period of your financial year? If it is April to March, it is going to be the March period. If it is the January to December, then the December is nothing but your closing period. December is nothing but your closing period. So these special periods are getting adjusted to the last closing period of your financial year. So the last closing period of your financial year is nothing but your 12th period. And you should not close this period at all until you do the adjustments. Until you make the adjustments, don't close the period. If you close the period, you cannot do any kind of adjustments. The remaining all the periods are closed. Once the periods are closed, you should not open the periods because already the month-end closing activities have completed and all the transactions have been closed. You are not supposed to open that. But I should open only the fiscal year for the last period, that is going to be the 12th period. It is the December or it is going to be the March or whatever maybe. So now these 4 special periods are getting adjusted to the last closing period of your financial year. Very, very important. Then only I can make the adjustments in the current fiscal year. So what is the 13, 14, 15, 16 now? Tell me now. Anybody can tell me now. Yes. Don't give the answer. These are the special periods. I know that. These are the
quarterly you can use, like for 13 period, you can use for first quarter, second quarter, for making adjustments for particular quarter.
Okay. So 13, 14, 15, 16 look like this. 13 is nothing but, very, very important here. 13 is nothing but, you are going to be doing the adjustments. What type of adjustments you are going to be doing here? So adjustments related to shareholders. Adjustments related to the shareholders. Very, very important. All kinds of adjustments related to the shareholders, you are going to be using the 13th period. Very, very important. If there are any adjustments related to the accruals and deferrals, if there are any adjustments related to the accruals and deferrals, you are going to be using the 14th period as the adjustment period. And if there are any adjustments related to the audit related postings, your auditor is giving some audit related transaction to be get posted. Audit related postings are there, something like any adjustments related to the auditor posting. Those postings are adjusted to the 15th period. And the 16th period, you are going to be using for any miscellaneous adjustments. Any kind of miscellaneous adjustments are there. Any expenses or something like any receivables or payables or whatever maybe. Those adjustments you are going to be making in the 16th period. It should be understood very clearly that, okay, 13, 14, 15, 16 are not dummily we are using. These are not the dummy periods. These are going to be called the special periods. Every special period has its own importance. What is the special? What is the period of one? One is nothing but a January. It's only of January. So are you going to post any transaction related February transactions to the month of January? No. No. So the same thing. Every period has its own importance. 13, 14, 15, 16. 13 is a general holders, shareholders adjustment. 14 is for the accruals and difference. 15 is for the audit postal related. And 16 is going to be called as any miscellaneous adjustments. So you are taking these special periods for the adjustments. Definitely 100% you are going to be taking. But when you are going to be adjusting the adjustments, for example, if I'm taking a year-end adjustments, I'm taking the year-end adjustments before I close my financial year. Okay, according to the IFRS, or you can take any accounting standard, they will give the 45 days as a grace day. They will give the 45 days to close your financial year. Very, very important. You take any accounting standard, whether it is IFRS or local GAAP, or you can take IAS or Ind AS, or you can take any GAAPs. They will give you the 45 days as a grace days to close your financial year. Means, so now you are supposed to close your financial year, that is the 2021. Okay, example, if I'm taking a January to December. But I have to do some adjustment, Mr. Mahesh, then only I can close my financial year. So you have to do these adjustments in the 13, 14, 15, 16, and that has to be done within the 45 days. Within the 45 days. So you mean to say that by February, so 01, 02, this is the January and February. By mid of the February 2022, you have to close your 2021 financial year. By mid of 2022 February 15th. So do all kinds of adjustment. 45 days will be given to you. Do all kinds of adjustment and close your financial year and declare your financial year and publish your financial statement to your stakeholders, either through the media or through the newspaper or whatever may be. So you're closing your financial year and you're declaring your financial statements. What is the profit and what is the loss, and you have to report to the SEBI also. And you have to report your financial statement to the SEBI. Security Exchange Board of India or something like, okay, if it is SEBI, it is a, okay, it is going to be the New York Stock Exchange, whatever maybe you're going to be, okay, whatever maybe, okay. So you're going to be reporting to the exchange, okay, you're going to be reporting to the security boards. If it is India, we are going to be using SEBI, Security Exchange Board of India. New York Stock Exchanges will be there. NASCO, okay. Something like you have to report to the security board. So when you are going to be closing, I'll be taking a 45 days as a grace days for the closing of my financial year. Very, very important. And which period is open? Now the last period always should be open until you close your financial year. The last period always should be open. If I close the last period also, I cannot do any kind of adjustments because these are the special periods. I cannot do any kind of adjustments. So once you complete these adjustments, and which period should be open? The period always should be open, the 12th period. So if I go to the SAP, see here, 1 second.
Mahesh, just a quick question.
Yeah,
how does the system knows really, like under what special period adjustment you make?
I'm showing that. I'm showing the same thing now. I'm showing the same thing. Now, do you understand why I will take more than 60 days to complete the syllabus and why other faculties will take only 40 days to complete the syllabus? Friends,
you are super expert.
No, not like the super expert. Explanation is very, very important. Actually, I'm not. Explanation will play the major role. Very, very important, sir. Explanation.
It's logical explanation, Mahesh. I can say that.
Yeah, I can complete your syllabus fiscal year within 5 to 10 minutes. It's not a big matter for me. I can go and explain. This is the fiscal year. Go and do the practicals. Okay, this is all the fiscal year. Come on, go and save it. Come on, do the practice. Over 10 minutes, your syllabus is your fiscal year is over. Then they will go to the topic called as the posting periods, and within 1 hour they will complete the fiscal year, posting periods, special periods, and everything they'll complete, and they'll go tomorrow. You have to come out with a new GL concept like that. No, not that doesn't make any sense here. So you have to go in a deeper level. See, for example, okay, now you are in the month of December. Example, last period of your financial. So 31/12/2021. 31/12/2021. So 12th is a period here. 12th is nothing but your posting. Don't consider the document date. Document date is nothing but your creation date. But when you're posting is very, very important, very, very important. The posting date always should be fall under the open period only. See, for example, now, okay, for example, now which month we are here? Which month we are in the 8th period. Okay, so for example, 8th period. But I want to post the transactions in the 12th period. The posting date you are given it as the 12th period. The system will not allow. Why? Because the current opening period is the 8th period, not as a December period. Your current period is opened as the 8th period. Here you can see the period which is opened is the 8th period. But you are trying to post the transactions in the 12th period. No, the system will throw an error. Which period is open? 8th period is open. Same thing. Now, when I'm posting the adjustments, make sure that your adjustment date and the date, whatever the date you are going to be giving, this always should fall under the open period. My open period in this example is nothing but my 12th period. The 12th period is open. See, I'm just highlighting this. Your 12th period is open. January to till the month of November, this all the periods have been closed. If they are closed means you cannot post any transaction. These all are closed periods. So only one period is open, that is the 12th period is open. So now you have to make some adjustments or not. So these adjustments are now what I'm going to do here. I'm giving the period as a 13. See here, I'm giving the period as a 13. Very, very important, my dear friends. Very, very important. I'm posting the adjustments. I'm posting the adjustments in the 12th period, but the period which has to be get considered as a 13th, because this 13th will tell me that this is the adjustment posting period. Okay, the postings have done in the month of 12th period because the 12th period is open. So you're making the adjustments in the 13th period. That is what exactly the adjustment posting period is going to be called as the 13th. So after you make the adjustments, if you go and see the balances, if I go and see the balances /O FS10N, if I go to FS10N, see here, I given the period as a 13, but I'm posting the transactions in the 12th period on which date 31st 12 2021. But the period I given it as a 13 means you are doing some adjustments. You are doing some adjustments. If I give 12th means these are not the adjustments, these are the normal periods. So I'm giving it as a 13. 13 means you are doing some adjustment. 14 means you are doing some adjustment. 15 means you are doing some adjustment. 16 means you are doing some adjustment. These all the adjustments will fall under very, very much. These all the adjustments will fall under the 12th period. Very, very important here. So if I go to, there is a transaction code FS10N. If I go to one transaction called as FS10N, SAP is just like an Oscar movies. SAP is just like an Oscar movies. Don't consider the SAP just like an action movies. Okay, Jack Arnold Schwarzenegger or somebody. Don't consider it just like Oscar movie. Until or unless if you don't practice, it will not come into your mind. Very, very important. Oscar movies also you should follow at least for 2 to 3 times to make the concept and understand. Then only you can decide, oh, why this film has given as the Oscar movie, best Oscar movie for the 2021. Until if you follow for 1 time or 2 times, you will not understand. If you go for the 3rd time, you'll understand, okay, why this film has given Oscar. Same thing like SAP is you have to follow just like an Oscar movie. Follow, practice, practice, practice. Follow the practice is very, very important. See for 2021. So I'm taking one account. For example, I'm taking one account. I'll take one account. I want to see the balances. I want to see the balances for my bank account example. See, I want to see the balances for my bank account for my company code and my fiscal year. See here. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the 12 periods. See, if I'm making some adjustments, see, 5,000 credits, you've done some adjustment. That adjustments you've done in the 14th period. You can see here, 14th period. And 13, 14, 15, 16 are the special periods, and 1 to 12 periods are called as the normal periods. But I see here, there are some adjustments you have made in the 14th period. If I double click on it, you have done some credits, not debits. You have done some credits. How much credits you have posted? 5,000. So when this credit was got posted, so if I go to the document, if I open the document, if I see the document, this was adjusted. See, the posting date has been given as the 31/12/2021, but the period you are taken it as the 14th period. You can see here. So you're done adjustments, some sales credit, okay? Sales commissions, $5,000 some adjustments were done here. In which month? That is the special period. That is the 14th. So the 14th is nothing but your adjustment period, and the total adjustments. How much adjustments you are done? The total adjustments were done for the $5,000 in the 14th, but the postings have done in the 12th period. By this, I can know that these are the adjustments or not. Yes or no? Doubt is clear?
Sorry, Mahesh, one quick question. This is for K4, right? So what about for the other variants, if it's V6 or V3? Which
concept
period?
never changes, sir. Concept never changes. If you're following, then the March will be a closing period, and these are the special periods.
Okay, only the last month which we are closing.
No. Last period you have to call it as. If you call it as the months, means it is the March. Oh. Last period always called as the financial year. The last period of your financial period always should be open. Then only I can make some adjustments. Otherwise, if it is closed, means I cannot do any kind of adjustments.
Okay.
So Mahesh, just one question. If users want to do adjustment entries after half yearly closing, like for
definitely 100%, you can do it, madam. That is what exactly I told that. So these are what, okay. So I'm talking about the one example is the period end closing activities. So if the user want to do some adjustments in the between the mid of the period means, yes, you can use these 3 periods, but your last mid of the period is going to be the 6th period then. June will be there. June will be your open period. This should be open. This should not be closed then.
Okay. So you can do adjustment at any time. Only thing is that period should be open.
Open, and those adjustments you have to make in the 13, 14, 15, 16. That's all.
So just one more question. What if a user wants to pass adjustment entries every quarter? So they have to use 13, 14, 15, 16 based on the concept, whatever audit adjustment or miscellaneous adjustments.
Yeah.
But
right.
that particular quarter's period should be open.
Exactly, 100%. If you are taking the quarter means what is the last quarter period? 3rd period will be there. Okay,
yes.
The 3rd period should be open.
3rd, 6th, 9th, 12th. So
exactly.
that time they can pass entries in 13, 14, 15.
But for 80 to 90%, madam, you are correct. 80 to 90%, we will do these adjustments in the last closing of your period only.
Correct.
Fiscal year.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
If we are doing July to June year, and we are doing a special period, for example, does that means the posting date has to be a 30th of June 2021? Is
correct.
Right?
You are absolutely right. Correct.
So your period is open for 45 days. Is that what we are saying? Your last.
Yeah. So for example here, okay. So when I take an example here, okay, this is the next year. Okay, January, February, March, April. This is the next year. So it doesn't mean that until or unless if you're not going to be closing your financial year, you're not opening your fiscal year for 2022. No, parallelly we will also open the 2022 financial year. Also means your January is opened. And the last closing period of 2021, the 12th period is also open. January is doing, because I cannot tell, because if you are given the 45 days means, what happened to the day-to-day transactions for the month of January and February? Are you going to stop them? No. So I'm opening my 2021 January period also. I'm doing my regular activities of the day-to-day transaction. And parallelly, I'm also opening the previous year 2020 financial year for the 2021 financial year 12th period is also open for me. 2022 is open, 2021 is open for the 12th period. So what the SAP is telling that, what the principal standard is telling, within 45 days means mid of the February, once you complete all the period and closing activities, then go back to your previous fiscal year and close this fiscal year now. And close this fiscal year completely like this. Clear, sir? No?
Yeah, and how will it look like really when you're opening up a new fiscal year?
No, that I'll tell. That is a topic. That is called as the open and close posting period topic is there. We are going to be explaining in that topic.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
We are in the practicals of defining the new fiscal year. That is the reason I told that number of special periods should be 4. So 12 are going to be called as the normal periods, and the 4 special periods are there. Now I'm creating one variant. See, HP is the variant. Save it. So I created the variant. Like this, you have to create one variant and you have to define. So tomorrow we'll see the remaining practical, how to define the periods and everything. Tomorrow we'll see the practicals for that. Okay. Any doubts?
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit our Vimeo page and follow for more upcoming videos.